Hi folks, I'm back today with another video. Now, I like to shoot 35mm film, and I really enjoy shooting Tri-X 400 and Ilford HP5. And I like to push those films to 1600 and take pictures of like our town at night, or buildings in the city at night, stuff like that. I like the lights and the reflections and how that looks. If I was going to shoot in daylight, I'd just shoot the film at box speed, but it seems like I've almost always got some film in the camera, and I've shot part of it and I've got it set to 1600, so I end up shooting some daylight pictures at 1600 as well. I just have to use I have to adjust my aperture to like a f16 or maybe even f22 if my camera will go to it, and then turn my shutter speed much faster. And so what I've been noticing shooting at night when I push this film, I've used this Nikon EL quite a bit lately. This is an old camera that was shoot in auto mode. They made these, I believe, from 1972 to 1976. They're made by Nikon. They just didn't put a Nikon name on them. You know, you got a Nikon F camera, the professional, and back in that time, or you got a Nikon EL, which was like electric and it was auto exposure. Or you got a Nikon or Nikon FTN or FTN2 or something that was an all-manual camera with a light meter in it. I like this one. I like this automatic one because the shutter speed is infinitely variable within its range. Like if you're shooting slides, for instance, you really want the exposure to be dead on. If I'm using my Nikon FM, which is manual exposure, and it's perhaps my light meter wants a shutter speed between, say, 1/60th of a second and 1/125th. It might really want 1/85th of a second. Well, with this Nikon FM, I might be a half a stop under or a half a stop over, because those are my options. With this Nikon EL, it will infinitely adjust that shutter speed anywhere within its automatic range. And if it determines you needed 1/185th of a second instead of 1/60th or 1/125th or whatever, well, it would give you that 1/185th of a second, or that 1/320th of a second, that half a stop or quarter stop or wherever it's at in between. It can just set that shutter speed to that. It can vary that shutter speed anywhere within its allowable automatic range. So I like that for slides. And I have used it indoors and in low light, pushing Tri-X film with it. But one of the things I'm noticing, and I want to shoot some more film today and tomorrow and try to have a video this weekend explaining what I think I'm seeing, or perhaps verifying I'm not seeing it. But I want to make that video and pass that along to you as well. But on this Nikon EL, it's got the little indexing pin this type of camera does. It's pre-AI, uses the little rabbit ears on the lens. Well, the lens I've been using on this is an older Nikon 50mm f1.4. And I believe this lens is a little soft at 1.4 or 1.8. And by a little soft, I mean a good bit softer than this modern Nikon Nifty 50, which is a 50mm f1.8D. This lens, I get some good sharp results out of it, and I've used it on this Nikon FM, and I've used it on a newer Nikon F601, and I've used it on a Nikon FG, and I always get good results out of it. But it's plastic and it goes to 1.8, and this lens here, this 1.4, it feels nice. It goes to 1.4, and I thought, well, that ought to be a better lens. But at that wide open aperture, I'm not sure that's true. But we're going to do some tests on that the next couple of days, get that film developed and scanned, and make another video that I hope to have up by Sunday that I believe will help cover some of that. We'll find out for sure, I hope, or at least realize that the confusion continues, one of the two. Now, some other things I want to share with you. Kodak's come back out with Ektachrome. And as near as I can tell, just about everybody sold out of it. That first batch come out, people wanted it, they got it. I missed out and didn't get any. But I've been shooting Fujichrome for some time, and B&H still has this up in New York. And what I have done this summer, I've used some Fuji while I was waiting for Ektachrome slide film to come out. And so I would buy the Fuji from B&H, and I'd buy a mailer. And this little mailer was, I don't know, about $10 or $10.50, I think, something like that. And then I would buy the roll of film, the Fuji slide film. I would shoot it up, and then you have a mailer that you drop. You get a mailer from B&H, and you drop your film in that. And I took it down to the post office. This mailer goes to Dwayne's Photo in Parsons, Kansas. They do a great job. And so it cost me $3.50 to get it mailed to Kansas. The mailer itself included postage back. I mailed it on a Monday this last time, and I got my slides back on a Monday, just like this. This was in there. So that's a turnaround of a week. I go to my post office on a Monday, drop it off. Next Monday, it hits my mailbox out in front of the house. Now, it comes in this nice box. Your slides do. And they're really nicely done. They did a great job on those. I've scanned them. You got a little thing on the back of the box. You can write what your slides are about, and then you put it back in here. Gives you a thing to keep them with. And so total cost on that, I think it's about $12.99 for a roll of Fuji Velvia 100, I believe is what I used. And then the mailer was about $10.50. That's got me up to about $22.50 or whatever. I don't know, $23. Then $3.50 to mail it off. Mail back to me is included with the mailer. So I'm talking about $27 for 36 exposure roll. That's buying the film and getting it developed. I'll call it $27 or so dollars. You do the math. $3.50 plus $12.99 plus about $10. So takes about a week to get them developed. It took me a month to shoot them because I just don't burn them all up at once. I had some family coming in, and I wanted some slides because my granddaughter was coming in with my daughter and son-in-law, and it was her first trip to Kentucky, and I wanted some of these slides as well as digital pictures. So she would have a more permanent record of her first time she came to Kentucky. She always had these, you hold them up to the light and see them if nothing else. But I just love the way you can do that with slide film. So it ends up being less than $1 a slide, and that includes buying the film and the processing. Now, I did not get any scans with them because I scanned my own. But that doesn't bother me. If you need scans with them, it might cost you more. But the mailer just covers getting them processed and sent back to you. It may not be what you think will work for you, but it's worth checking out because it may be a while before this Ektachrome gets back out. I'm thinking this Ektachrome's going to be December before we see it, from what I'm hearing. And you might want to shoot some slides at Thanksgiving or something, or this fall. You got pretty colors of the fall. You might want to shoot some slides, so you might want to give that a try. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I just almost forgot this, about these lenses between the 50 1.8D and the 50mm 1.4 on these Nikon lenses, is the way they focus. The lens are both equally easy, I think, to focus, but the camera on this EL, when I shoot in low light with it, which that's where I'm seeing the softness with this 50mm 1.4, at least I think I am. Focusing screen's a little different in this camera. That makes it a little harder to focus for me than is a Nikon FM. Also, this has a needle over there, and even though it's automatic and it lines the needles up for you, it's a little hard for me in low light to tell what shutter speed I'm getting. So sometimes when I shoot, maybe I'm getting a 30th when I think I'm getting a 60th of a second, and I'm getting a little camera motion, you know what I mean? Maybe that's where some of that softness is. This camera, you can read the FM, you can read the numbers, the exposure numbers pretty easily, and there's little red dots in there, and low light it's pretty good. Plus I think the focusing screen on this one is much easier to focus with. I like shooting the film and I like sharing the information. I'm not a professional at this by trade or nothing. I'm just a guy that's been doing this stuff as an amateur for over 40 years now. Amateur photographer, shooting film, shooting digital, shooting video. By amateur I don't mean I'm completely unskilled, but I mean I'm just willing to share what I know and what I learned how to do. Sometimes in plain English, and I may get the vocabulary a touch off, may misspeak a term. Try not to, but if I do, it's because I'm just interested in sharing the information. You'll see what it means, and someone can correct me down here below with the comments and on the screen and below the video, and we'll get the point out, or I'll come back and leave a comment and correct myself if I see it. Well, thank you all for watching. I'll try to get that other video up in a few days, comparing these two lenses, and I'll have some pictures taken by this Nikon FM. I want to swap the lens back and forth on this one camera and then on one roll of film, and I'll tell you which one shot on which lens, and try to shoot from the exact same spot on a tripod so we get a good comparison, match up the f-stops and shutter speeds and everything the same way, and see what we get. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and we'll see you again soon. All right, bye-bye.